Hi. So today we're going to be talking about the layers panel, and everyone knows already a little bit about the layers panel, but we're going to really dive into some depth, uh, deconstructing the panel and showing some of the benefits and why it really is the creative hub of Photoshop. It allows you to be flexible and it allows you to change your mind while you're in the middle of editing. So let's look at this panel closely. Right now I have an adjustment layer here, and I just added it by picking an icon from the adjustment panel. If I can double click on this icon of the half circle, you can see that the properties panel for that adjustment layer turns on, and then I can actually change this photo by manipulating that properties panel, and I'm here just pulling this down. The other interesting thing about the layers panel here is that you can actually double click into the title of the layer and then rename it. So here I'm just going to rename it darken and press enter, and you can see that now I have a little bit more of common sense in terms of what this layer is doing. This is actually really good to label your layers with some efficiency and some logic, because imagine if you were working at a photography firm and you passed your work on to someone else and this file was opened by a colleague. If you labeled your layers correctly, they could just pick up working where you left off and everything would be pretty organized. Now, right now we can kind of conceptually aren't really understanding what the layers panel is for, but I have some files open right here that can actually shed some light onto what we'll be learning in the future in regards to the layers panel, and it'll show you some of the power that the layers panel actually has. So I'm going to go over to this photograph, and I'm just going to command plus on my keyboard to zoom in a little bit here so we can see what's going on. And I'm just going to minimize my properties panel and maximize my layers panel here so that everyone can see. And I'm just clicking and dragging on the sides. Right now we have a background layer, and we also have this additional layer called wrinkles. So right now this is a folder, but if I expand that, you can see all of the layers here. And this is really where Photoshop allows us to be very specific on how we're actually affecting our image. So if I just turn off the visibility of all of these layers by hitting the top visibility, you can see that it turns all those layers off, and we can see the before and after of our edit on this portrait. If we go into these specific layers here we have a cleanup layer, and you can see that's an initial pass at the forehead, and then we have eyes, and then it goes into very specific changes as I'm turning on and off the visibility here of what's being affected. So let's go to another file. I'm going to go to eyelashes here, and in this layer we can see it's labeled eyelashes, and if I turn on and off the visibility of that layer, you can see that the eyelashes are being changed. Let's go to this layer. Here we have a flurry of hue, saturation, adjustment layers, and if we turn it on and off those, you can see that we have a little bit of natural teeth whitening that is happening on this portrait, as well as a retouching layer that has everything to do with minimizing all of those wrinkles. Here in this portrait, we have a hue saturation for initial pass on the roots, and then we also have darkening of that section for the roots in this portrait. So really what the layers panel is for is to organize our workflow, and it allows us to compartmentalize what we're doing in a situation in terms of our improving our document. Another one that I wanted to show you was this one at the tail end of everything. Here we have hotspots, and you can see that that is localized on that layer. So this is a way into some of the conceptual ways that the layers panel actually functions. And the next step is really just understanding how to build up these layers and how to name them properly, and what exactly happens when we have multiple layers inside of the layers panel.